Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is our first video. We've made quite a lot of videos, but we decided this is going to be the first one we've put out. We're not dressed in workshop scrubs today because it's actually our day off, and we've come in to make the video because we wanted to. Basically. This is Ali.
Hi.
Ali is my partner in tatters.co.uk, which is our sales department, our sales wing, isn't it?
Decorative antiques and textiles.
We've got another showroom away from the workshop because otherwise it would be a mess. That's where we do all our sales, and we sell artwork,
antiques,
vintage clothing,
yeah, textiles,
lots of lovely
fashion.
things. Yeah, and we're very busy with it, and it's very successful.
Super.
I think
It is.
Yeah. So this video is basically, it's two things. It's how I became an antique restorer, and I'm going to try and tell you some basic points which will hopefully, if it's a career you're looking at, help you along your way, because there's a few things I've learned on the way that if I knew them earlier on, I would be where I am today a lot sooner. And not that it's the greatest place in the world for most people, but for me it's perfect and I'm really happy here. So if it helps, it helps. And Ali is going to ask a few questions along the way if they spring to mind. Have a chat. And we're going to talk about the progression. I think Ali's input will probably be more helpful later on in our points when we start talking about developing the business later on and sort of sharpening up your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay. So the main 4 points we've come up with were networking and connections,
Yeah.
establishing your skills and improving your skills, setting up a workshop that's suitable for the type of restoration you're going to be doing, and then progression from there in terms of the business and your knowledge.
Building up your customer base.
Yeah, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first point I would say that everyone should go to in terms of either really in being a dealer and a restorer is the auction house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone is at the auction house.
Centre of the antiques universe, basically.
Well, it is really. You've got all the dealers go there. You've got the private buyers, the collectors, and then to fill in sort of service the auction houses, you've got all the removals firms, the house clearance guys, and all these people have really good intricate knowledge of your local area, who's buying and selling what. The removal guys damage stuff all the time.
Yep.
That needs fixing. The dealers need someone to restore their stuff. And if you build up a good relationship with some dealers, it can be really beneficial in terms of them supplying you with bits of furniture to break up, or you scratching their back getting them some sales by tidying up the furniture that they either buy from auction or buy elsewhere and they want to sell on. So
the antiques,
the auction,
centre of the universe, and that's where we kind of formed our friendship.
Yeah.
What formed friendship? What's the word?
We connected in a business sense.
We connected in a business sense. When I bought that Liberty stool, and I brought it to you because somebody had stuck the leg in the wrong way, so it needed fixing.
I mean, I remember I did a stool, but I couldn't remember.
Remember what it was.
No, too much comes through the door. Typical. So yeah, that's where we met, the auction house, and then from there we started doing lots of work for you, and then we sort of formed this partnership, utilising both of our skills to.
You realised how good I was.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You became the brains. So yeah, that's how important the auction house is. It's a good little start, and the same with antique fairs. By showing your face at all the antique fairs and all the little car boot sales, I mean, we pick up some nice things at the car boot sales.
We do.
We'll get up.
Well, I think the smaller fairs are more beneficial to us than the bigger ones because they're less picked over.
Yeah.
The big antique dealers aren't there.
And it's early starts.
Yeah, early starts, but
they can
pickings
on
are
the way.
rich. Yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta say, we do make pretty decent money from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
From the small
it is all
fairs.
about the.
But then at the same time, we travel to the bigger fairs.
Yeah.
And we'll stay there. And
but there's always so much more competition.
Yeah. And if you're not up there at the crack of dawn, if you're not in there at 5 o'clock in the morning, you've missed it. It's all gone. So dealers will be very cunning. It's fair game for a dealer to sort of, there's no point turning up till 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah, we've been told that loads, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
don't
you
bother
need to
going
get
in.
there.
Yeah. Don't go in on a Tuesday. Wait till the Wednesday. You see them leaving as you're arriving with a van full of stock.
Yeah, so we've learned on the way, haven't we?
Well, and I've learned on the way as a restorer because I started working for my dad at 14 years old in his workshop. And I was working weekends and evenings for dealers trying to get pocket money. And then as I got older, it was money to go travelling or surfing or whatever. and they taught me some harsh lessons. Not necessarily ripping me off, but it's sort of fair game in the second-hand market of anything, same with cars or anything.
So it was a natural progression for you then, working for your dad, family business, and you've kind of taken it in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody can work with their parents, and
tricky.
I'm no different. Yeah. So I got a loan from the Prince of Wales Trust for £2,500.
Wow.
Then I borrowed £2,500 off the bank, bought a little escort van, hired a little workshop, £50 a week, and then, I mean, it's showing my age a bit, they can get a workshop.
But it's good to know that there's money out there, you know, and
there's always
charities
grants
that will
available.
help you.
Yeah. And then I just got going, and luckily I had those dealers as sort of contacts that started bringing me work. I think I mentioned before, I made £4,000 in my first year, which is about £400 a month, £100 a week when you average it out.
It's a lot of money in those days though, Alex.
Back in the day.
Fortunes.
So, and that was when I was got going at about 23 from what I remember.
When you had to knuckle down,
get
a proper
stop
job.
Messing about basically. And that's where I learnt a lot, because I didn't have any woodworking skills, I just had some French polishing skills, and that would get you a long way really in terms of hiding old repairs for other people that other people had done.
It's become like a second instinct to you.
Yeah, just
being
because I do it
surrounded
every day.
by it. Yeah.
And so another good tip I'd say, in terms of practicing your skills, going to the auction house or the antique fair and spending 30-40 quid on a piece of furniture and restripping and repolishing it time and time again will just hone your skills. You know, if you get an old chest of drawers, make it a light colour, the next week make it a darker colour. And if you can buy something from the auction for cheap, turn it round and knock yourself a 50 quid profit out of it after you've bought materials, you're doing okay, because it's the practice and the knowledge that you learn from doing that job, rather than the profit you're making, which can then turn into bigger profit further down the line.
And I suppose there's lots of clips on YouTube and stuff like that, helpful hints.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nobody really reads a book about it anymore, do they?
No, not really.
When you can watch YouTube clips on how you strip and polish things, and everyone has got their own take on it and their own different ways of doing it. In time, we'll show you ours. Mm-hmm. But I think by watching them videos and just having a go, it's surprising how quick you can learn. And there'll be things in the auction where a dealer will look at it and think that's worth good money, and they will bid high on it, and they'll take it to a restorer and still turn up a profit, and that's their experience. Yeah. There's a lot of things in the auction that look like nice pieces of furniture, but a dealer knows
it's not worth spending the money.
The restoration cost is the same as the value of the furniture. They can't turn a profit on that, but you could. Mm-hmm. And as a project, you know, if it's got little bits of woodwork missing, buy some tools and have a go at it, because it's the fastest, quickest way to learn. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you're going to need timber supplies, and things that are beyond restoration in the auction. You buy them, break them up, and they sit in your wood store. And this place is
full to the brim.
Yeah, and I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of timber that passes through this place. Mm-hmm.
So you think it's really important then to have a big collection of different timbers?
Oh, it's vital, and that comes from years and years of breaking pieces of furniture up.
And you decide the good bits that you know that you will come in handy.
Yeah, well, the bits that I know that, one, it's either a rare piece of timber. I was
going to say the rarer pieces.
Yeah, ones that you cannot fake with wood stain and waxes. And then things that are really hard to make. Bits of carving or a turned leg or pad feet on something. Things that take time to make. If you've just got some in a box and you can just pull them out.
And also all the hardware, I guess, all the handles.
Yeah, exactly. Locks, catches, hinges, all of that. Because the old ones, they look old, and if you're going to repair a proper antique, you've got to put a proper aged piece on.
Yeah.
So that's us touching on contacts and skills, and sort of setting up your workshop as depending on the type of restoration you're going to do.
Because you could work from home, you could do it in your shed.
Well, it doesn't take much space,
no.
Especially if you're only doing one piece at a time. It doesn't take much space at all. Here, we've got a pretty big operation, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Some weeks we can do 10 pieces of furniture in a week.
If
with
only
a team.
people could see off camera.
Surrounded by chaos. But we turn over a huge amount of work, which is great because we're lucky that we've got it. Mm-hmm. But again, I look at dealers and some restorers, and they're working on one thing for a week or 2 weeks, and I admire that, and I've got a lot of respect for the people that can put that much time and effort into some things. And that's another important skill. You learn to talk to your customers and learn what they want, because we've got dealers that come through here that ship stuff abroad and they want it coming through. That they will literally drop off 6 pieces of furniture in the morning, say, can we pick that up at 5 o'clock? They want to spend a short amount of money on each one, just so it's presentable.
That's it. They just want it titivating, don't they? So it's
stuck on a container and gone.
Yeah, that's it.
And then it goes off.
Quickly polished and off to a fair.
It goes off to Texas or it goes off to Thailand. And then we've got the dealers that bring the high-end rare things.
That want minute attention to detail.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be a ruin when it arrives, and they'll come back and you think you've worked a miracle and they'll be like, this little piece of veneer on this bottom left corner, I think that needs to be changed, or, you know, it can just...
Mm-hmm. But then they'll pay for that though, won't they?
They expect to pay for it. So you just learn with each person what they expect and what you do for them. And then beyond them is the high-end clients who...
Collectors.
They're just collectors. Mm-hmm. And they can have pieces of furniture worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. And when you're at that level, it's perfection or nothing. But we'll come to that in a bit. We're going to build up to that, aren't we? As our point number 4.
What's this client base now?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about knowledge.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And the reason we've got all our, some of our catalogues, once you've got to a point where you've got your basic skills and you're doing your woodwork, you've got your timber supply, you've got your tools, you've got your workspace, the next stage is knowledge. And this is where you can start earning some proper money, really. By
honing your skills, by honing your eye.
Yeah.
Training your eye.
What you can learn from them, those sort of various magazines, is invaluable to the trade. So, I mean, the first thing we do, and we both do this, is read the Antiques Trade Gazette, and it's a weekly magazine, and basically it'll touch on every antique fair,
what's going on,
every auction that's going on, anything of interest. It gives you a bit of a backstory about it. It gives you a bit of trade gossip.
Yeah, it does. Tells you about specific antique dealers. They do a piece in there, and it's just all full of information.
Yeah, and prices, which is a really big thing, because then you learn the value. You learn what's a good antique and what's not. And fakes at the moment are such a massive thing. We go to antique fairs and we can sometimes have to spend 5 or 10 minutes looking at a single piece, trying to work out whether it's a fake. And we even had it a couple of weeks ago at the Cheshire Fair. Yeah. And we were looking at this mirror thinking, this does look right.
Looks right.
Could it be right? Could it? And then we spotted another
one. Exactly the same.
Yeah, and it was so well done.
Yeah, really well
Incredible.
done.
But what
it was a Capri's mirror, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Capri's
and what
mirror.
used to be you'd have certain areas that would always have fakes made in the antiques trade, whereas now it's completely across the board.
Yeah.
Because I was even looking at a tool chest and I was amazed by this tool chest. I think that is beautiful. I mean, I'd love this. And I think the guy said about 800 quid.
Did we see another one of those as well?
Saw another one of those.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. The level of detail. People have learned how to wear a fake like an original. Whereas before, they'd just make it in the same style. You could spot it a mile off, whereas...
Now you can't.
Now
it's very,
it
very
takes
hard.
an effort. And you've almost got to educate yourself as to what is available on the market in the reproduction market to know what's fake and what's not. So then, basically, what we both do, we read the Antiques Trade Gazette, and that gives you a really good eye on the market.
What's
and
going on?
You learn a lot, and you learn a lot about value. But then that takes you to a certain level, and every so often they touch on things in here which are very valuable.
Also, there's some good contacts in there as well in these Trade Gazette magazines.
Yeah, very good contacts. You learn about who are the key players in the market.
Yeah.
But then the next level is the auction catalogues. The auction catalogues from Christie's, Bonhams, Phillips, Sotheby's, all the big auction houses. They have amazing sales all year round. They put out big glossy catalogues. And there are things for sale in these catalogues that you're lucky if you see them. We're quite lucky that we have some pretty high-end clients with amazing private collections.
Very much so.
And it's not often you actually see these things in the flesh, so to speak. We read all these magazines, and we've got hundreds of these, and I think we're going to try and take a shot of them just to show you how many of these we've got. And I put little paper tags in them every time I see something interesting. But what you learn from these is the sort of high end of the market that you very rarely see. Things worth £100,000 to £300,000. But when you actually do get to see them in reality, one, blown away by how
Absolutely.
beautiful they are, and you appreciate just how
The
they
level.
should look,
Yeah.
and how they should look if they've been in a nice country house for the last 200-300 years. You look at them and it's just, you understand what a real one should look like, and the next time you see one which you have a doubt about, that doubt usually sticks in your head. And something you learn is what they call in the trade the eye.
The eye.
By looking at things like this and being out there all the time, looking at furniture, whether it's in your sale or your auction house or your reading, your eye trains to that sort of quality and elegance. And any good dealer can walk into up to a stand at an antiques fair, and it's a flash across it. It's 5 seconds, and you know if anything's good on that stand.
And then you're on to the next.
And then you're off to the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, we're forever. I'm just following, chasing you around, aren't you? You're
in my wake.
Yeah. So it's it's that knowledge is everything, and that's when you get to a more polished end of your antiques dealing spectrum, or whether it's your restoration or dealing. If you walk into a client's house and they've got something of that quality, you need to be able to tell them the construction methods, the country it was made, how old it is, how valuable it is, what's special about it, what makes it elegant, what makes it beautiful. And you only learn that by reading about it and going to look at these things and just soaking up that knowledge. And it can take years and years and years. And sometimes, even now, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 odd years. There was a chest of drawers sat in here for nearly a year for a client, but they know if some things take a while, and they were busy and we had COVID and everything else, so it sat here a long time. And I was questioning whether it was English or continental the whole time. Another very good dealer came in and went, definitely continental. The dealer that brought it in thought it was English. And then I found it in one of my catalogues, not the exact one, but one very close. Turns out it was English, Cromwellian period, so we're looking at what, 1690?
Something like that.
And I put a video on Instagram, and it was in the corner, and it was in the tiny corner, you could hardly spot it. And a dealer from Devon, a notoriously good early oak dealer, phoned me up and said,
instantly
"What's that chest?"
saw that.
Yeah, the
Just
minute
from
it was
a tiny
on,
little clip.
yeah, and he was just like, "Is that for sale?" And he knew what it was, and he must be so well read to know what he'd seen and what it was and how valuable
And he
it was.
just zoned in on that little.
And he spotted it. And that's how dealers work. You just, it's a passion, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
It has to be your passion, because when you go home at night, some people think I'm mad to sit and read one of them for an hour, but to me, it's just...
Well, I have a pile of these by the side of my bed, and they literally are my bedside table.
Yeah, well, it's just, and we'll show you in a moment. We've got cabinets full of these in the workshop. We've got these stacked high.
But as you say, it's just literally training your eye, and all you need to do is flick through, scan the pictures, and
it
if you're like
in.
me, I've got like a photographic memory, so if I see anything similar, I know immediately.
Yeah. I think we've covered basics. Have we covered basics? We don't know.
I haven't got a cup of tea.
Oh, I did boil the kettle.
Did you boil the kettle?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Never mind.
Okay, so there are basic points. Network and get to know the key players. Dealers, auctioneers, get to know the removals companies and the guys that do the house clearances. Start practicing your skills. Pick up some cheap pieces of furniture and just have a go at it. You can pick nice mahogany pieces or nice oak pieces up now for cheap. 30, 40 quid, 15, 20 quid in materials. Watch a couple of videos and you can strip and repolish these things easy.
Or maybe start just doing things around the house, maybe.
Yeah. Or
repolishing a table, or getting that ring mark out of the table.
The basics that you'd be asked to do as bread and butter for your business.
And you just build and build and build.
Exactly, yeah. And then practice your woodwork skills.
And your reputation as well, that's everything.
Oh yeah, that's true. You can't, that's a very good point actually. If one thing I'll say, and one thing we always do here, often jobs can go wrong. Wood is a temperamental beast, and the materials you put on it sometimes will go amazing for 10 jobs in a row. You do that 11th job and it just does not go to plan. But you have to deliver a perfect job regardless of how much money you're making or losing. And sometimes this can be on a big scale and it can cost you thousands of pounds. It just has to be right every time. And once you've done that for 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden you realise you've worked for 100 people who will all sing your praises. And then as it keeps going, that is enough work to keep you going forever. And it's just that initial period of knocking out the quality regardless, and it will pay dividends in the long run.
Because you're always super busy, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, this place is absolutely rammed with work all the time.
There's always
But that's based on your reputation, I guess, then.
Yeah, and we've been really lucky. I mean, we've
Your
obviously
client
done
base.
TV work, which is good for our profile, but the bulk of our high-end antiques that we work for, we were doing long before any TV companies came along.
And dealers from all over the country bring their things here, don't they?
True, yeah. And we pretty much take care of most of the stately homes in quite a large area. I'm really lucky for things we see and things we've worked on.
But that again, that is all based on reputation. It's taken you a long time to get to that point, hasn't
And
it?
Yeah, and it's reputation and it's quality of your work and
So
it's
you
your
can't
service.
just throw things out. You know, it's got to be right.
That's it. And you've got to understand the way you conduct yourself. It's important.
Yeah, definitely. So keeping your mouth closed on certain things, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you can't tell people who you're working for, or
which is frustrating sometimes because I'm so excited about the pieces of furniture, I just want to scream about them.
But in the same way, dealers, they're not willing to say who's restoring their work, are they?
I know dealers are really cagey about their restores because they know how, if they're good, they're busy and they don't want to be sharing them.
Yeah.
And they don't want people to know that their items have been restored either when they're selling them.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it?
There is a lot to take in, isn't it? How confusing.
Right then. So, I mean, that is basically our point, isn't it? It's your contacts and networking.
Reputation.
Establish your skills. Get your workshop fit for the type of work you want to be doing. Because you don't have to do the woodwork side. You can just do the polishing side.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point, yeah.
And if you want to do the woodwork, just buy some bits and start making a bit. And then educate yourself, whether
Definitely.
it's antique
Get
trophies
reading those magazines.
Get out to the fairs. You don't have to buy something. Just go and look at everything and have a look around the antique shops.
Get a
And
good
they are
feel
the
for
basics for getting you going.
Yeah.
Even if we ran it for half an hour, we could have said it in 5 minutes. So that's it for our first video. As I say, I know a lot of you are probably expecting some restoration videos, and we will do them in time. We've actually made a lot of videos. This is just the first one that we're putting out for you. We'd love to know what you think of it. If you can comment and let us know exactly, anything you think we've missed, put it in the comments and we'll mention it, and we'll do it again at another time for you. If there's anything you really liked about the video, let us know. We know to include that some more. Thank you to everyone who subscribed, because we put a little introduction video out, and I think we're up to about
it did really well.
2,000 views and nearly 500 subscribers now, which I know is tiny in YouTube terms.
It's huge to us.
This is a really big deal for us, and we're really excited about it. So, yeah, that's it. This is our first Alex Webster Restoration Show video. I hope it's been useful. I hope there's something in there that you can take away. And if you're a budding restorer ready to get going, I hope it helps. If you wanted to get into dealing, again, I hope there's a few things that may have been helpful to you. Until next time.
Yeah, that's it.
Bye. This was the Alex Webster Restoration Show. Please subscribe. That was easy. Good.